And a very beautiful hadith, well known to each and every one of us. He said, "Man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه ومن قام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه ومن قام ليلة القدر إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه." Prophet ﷺ, he said that whomever fasts Ramadan with iman and ihtisab, then his sins would be forgiven. And whomever prays qiyam with iman and ihtisab, then again his sins would be forgiven. And whoever prays the night of Qadr with iman and ihtisab, then his sins would be forgiven. What is meant by imanan wa ihtisaban? Imanan billah, doing so with belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He is your Lord, that He is the one worthy of your worship, to re-establish and revive al-ubudiyyah, that you are abdulillah, that you are a slave, servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you fast in this blessed month, think about ibadah, for example, as the salah. As we were just standing in salah, when you enter the salah, when you make takbirat al-ihram, the space in front of you becomes a sacred space. People are not permitted to pass in the space in front of you. It becomes a little haram for you. And while you're in salah, there is obligations, there is wajibat, sunan, there is things you're not permitted to do while you're in salah. You are in a state of ibadah. You're not allowed to move around or look around or eat food or drink, but rather you're in a state of khushu', in a state of worship. Similarly, and this ends with the taslim. When you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, then you exit the salah. When you go for umrah or for hajj and you enter into ihram, you enter into a state that again has things that you are not permitted to do, and a way that you are expected to conduct yourself while you're in ihram. And you only exit ihram with the cutting of your hair. تتحلل من الإحرام. Similarly is a siyam. When you begin your fast and you enter a state of fasting from the crack of dawn at Salat al-Fajr, you are in a state of ibadah. You are in a state of ubudiyyah lillah. Be mindful of this to perfect your siyam, to have ihsan in your siyam. You are fully submitting yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani even in the last minutes before Salat al-Maghrib, you would not dare to break your fast. If someone put water and dates in front of you 5, 10 minutes, even 1 minute before Adhan al-Maghrib, you would not dare for a moment to break your fast out of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the great ibadah of siyam. Look, for instance, if the government made a law telling people to fast for health benefits, how many people would actually fast? And how would they be able to check and see who's fasting? As-siyam is known as ibadat al-ikhlas. It's a ibadah where you display sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in that hadith, we say imanan wa ihtisaban. Ihtisaban, anticipating a great reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are many levels to this reward, the forgiving of the sins. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, as the Prophet ﷺ narrated in the Hadith al-Qudsi, كل عمل ابن آدم له إلا الصوم فإنه لي وأنا أجزي به. Every deed of Adam, son of Adam, is for him. The reward of it, of many of the ibadat, is known. And many of the ibadat are visible. You make wudu and you come to the masjid and you pray, people can outwardly and visibly see you praying and coming to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course you do it out of sincerity. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this hadith, He said, إِلَّا الصَّوْمِ. He attributed it to Himself. He attributed it to Himself. It's a ibadah. It's very difficult to know who is fasting and not fasting. Nobody can oversee and know this ibadah except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِلَّا الصَّوْمِ فَإِنَّهُ لِي وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ. Which indicates this ibadah is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and He compensates for it. He rewards for it. And when the reward is left open-ended in this fashion, it tells us that the reward is great. The reward is vast. So strive to perfect your siyam. Strive to perform your siyam with ihsan to attain the maximum and great reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. جزاكم الله خير. بارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.